Good morning, my friends. It's another wonderful day in the Philippines. In this video, I'm going to talk about the transition I made from how things were to how they are now. Adapting to the cultural changes when moving from America to retirement in the Philippines. So, check it out. Living in the Philippines when retiring from America, or anywhere in the West for that matter, can bring on some challenging changes. The Philippine people are usually more relaxed, live a slower pace of life compared to the lifestyle in the West that I was living. This change of pace took me some getting used to. I was a little surprised, actually, since I'd already been here twice. And to appreciate and enjoy the everyday experiences was just not automatic for me. You know, when I retired, it's not like a switch flip and I went into autocorrect. I still had that underlying urge to accomplish something on a daily basis. For me, it was like coming down out of an elevator. It seems every month when I got my Social Security, I would exhale and realize how much normal, natural stress had faded away. It was actually surprising, and how I had reached another level of naturally feeling relaxed. It took at least a year before those dramatic realizations began to fade into normal, everyday way of life. It was a process, and I was evolving. I'm still realizing changes that have happened over time. I started to feel a new sense of freedom I hadn't felt in my adult life, and closer to stress-free than I'd felt since childhood. Reminds me of a time in junior high. When I woke up in the morning, I walked down to the beach. It was the first day of summer, and all was right with the world. You know, in my videos, when I say it's a wonderful day to be in the Philippines, that is exactly what I'm feeling at that moment in time. I never say anything I'm not feeling. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not saying it. When I first came to the Philippines, I remember thinking Filipinos were kind of childlike with their happy-go-lucky way of life. But the more I've gotten to know them and in myself evolving into the same culture, it's nothing to do with childlike. And I realized they're just not jaded. Not being jaded has nothing to do with being childlike. Now, many times I'd be waiting in line for this or waiting in line for that, and I would watch what's going on in front of me, and I would feel frustrated because it was taking so long. Here at the hypermarket, they use the barcodes, and about 30% of the time the barcodes don't work very well. That's part of technology. And then when you use a credit card, then they take the total, they go somewhere else, a manager comes over, they run it onto the card through a machine, then they come back to the cash register. If there's a senior and there's a discount card involved, that's a whole other process. So now you're 4 or 5 times longer than you would feel in America. Now what I realized is that here they pay about $10 a day. In America, it's about $20 an hour. So in America, you have to be 16 times as efficient to basically cover your profit and salaries. Many times with the inexpensive cost of labor here, it doesn't make sense to invest in the automation that would make things happen faster. So it's that lower cost of living we all enjoy that allows them not to have to work so fast and furious in order to make a profit and to pay for their own salaries. That also made sense that maybe they were better off doing it their way, which allows a generally happier, more carefree, less pressure culture. That's when I knew I was beginning to acclimate to the culture, becoming happier and more carefree in everyday life. It was somewhere around month 5 or 6 when I started to realize that if I was getting upset about things of that nature, I was wrong. I was the one that was wrong. I was allowing myself to get upset, generally becoming a lot less impatient. The first thing I tell people when you come to the Philippines, the most important thing to bring is your patience. There's so many idiosyncrasies in this culture that you really cannot be prepared for, no matter how many videos you watch. And I no longer feel the need for everything to be done in a breakneck speed. This is their country, their culture, and I'm only a guest. Now, I don't embrace change easily, especially after over 60 years of perfecting who I was. I remember waking up one day realizing it was a done deal. Some change had happened, and life had just gotten a little sweeter. For some people, change comes easy. I'm not one of those. I don't really smile when I feel change because that means that I was wrong. Maybe it's an ego thing, I don't know. You just can't seem to be angry in a culture where everyone is happy. I can't be stressed in a stress-free environment. Over time, I've evolved and I've become more like that. Less stressed, happier, and healthier. I think about this time, I started realizing I'd become a minimalist. So living in the province and living more like the locals really has become an improvement in the quality of my life. And my experiences have become more important than material possessions. Now, I had a troll leave a message saying, "Those aren't real Ray-Bans you're wearing." Now, if you watch my videos, you know pretty much I always wear sunglasses, and a lot of them are different. And I'll buy them 3 or 4 pair at a time because they cost me about 90 cents each. So if I'm sitting at a jeepney terminal or riding on a jeepney and I see somebody admiring my glasses, I'll hand them the glasses and tell them to try them on. If they're smiling, I'll tell them to keep them. Cost me 90 pesos. Made my day. I don't care if they say Ray-Bans. I really don't care anymore what they say on them. I just know they do the job and they didn't cost me much and I don't care. So from the time I was young, it was Wayfair, Varnays, Ray-Bans. It was always something. And now, I don't care. And this is just another example of why my $600 a month realistic budget is realistic. So full disclosure, if you're a smoker or you drink, you're going to need to add that onto your budget. Since I don't smoke or drink, I didn't even think about it. I think that in large part, it's just natural to acclimate to your environment, give it enough time. Probably the single biggest change, obviously, was Filipino food. Much of it I just don't like, and I don't see that changing, but it's okay. I don't like meat with bones in it or fat. When you go to the market and you have chicken, you order it, they'll just slice it up for you like it's a loaf of bread, and you have all those bones inside. Fish just comes with bones in it, and when they cut up pork, they just cut up the fat wherever it happens to be. Now, when I was in America, I didn't eat ribs because they were messy. I didn't eat chicken wings because it was mostly bone. I mean, I always liked chicken legs, especially when I was a kid. But anyway, when you get here, you're still going to be hungry 3 times a day. Unless you're married to a Filipino and you're already experienced Filipino food, it's going to be a challenge for you. It's not like growing up in San Diego, eating Mexican food every other day and then moving to Mexico. Have you ever seen a Filipino restaurant in America? I learned in a hurry that I had not outgrown my gag reflex. More than once I walked right past McDonald's in search of something besides sausage McMuffin with egg, only to return 20 minutes later unsuccessful. In the end, I've learned to do a lot of my own cooking, and that's turned out really well. The more money I save, the more money I use for traveling. And soon I'll be doing a video on diet and cooking here in the Philippines when you first arrive. Now, I know some guys are going to go, I don't want to cook. Well, don't cook. But the method that I'm going to show you is pretty basic and pretty simple. And some meals that I like, I can cook them while I'm on the road, and they cost less than 30 cents. And then there's street food. And I can barely eat $2 worth, and I'm not talking about chicken intestine. I'm talking about barbecue, chicken, pork, beef. I was chatting with a subscriber who lives in Angeles City. He makes less than $1,000 a month, and he never cooks. Now, this isn't going to happen the day you get off the boat. You're going to have to stick your toe in the water and experiment. Give it a little trial and error, you'll find the things that you like, and those are the kind of things that are going to save you money in your monthly food budget. Now, the changes and the experiences that I've gone through since I've been here is what allows me to live comfortably as I do. Now, there's a lot of guys saying you can't live like the locals and be happy. I'm here to tell you that is not true. But I'm also here to tell you a lot of those guys, they could not be happy living as I do. Now, there's a lot of guys in BGC and places like that that are going to live in the condos and they're going to have a more expensive lifestyle, which is more like their American lifestyle. It's just now they can still afford it because they're here. More power to them. Not a problem. I just choose to do it the way I do it on the budget that I have, and I found living like the locals allows me to feel a lot less stress in my life. The things that are important to me today were not on the top of my list when I got here. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications of my next video. Thank you.